What's the deal, family? Welcome back to another SOS podcast. I am Cameron. This is my beautiful wife, Erin. What's going on, babe?
Hello. What's up?
Nothing much.
What are we sipping on?
It's
It
very
looks
makeshift.
very
It's just honestly
uncrafted.
some ginger beer. It's definitely not crafted. It's like a little, I guess. I don't even want to call this a mocktail. It's just some mixed
Juice.
drinks. It's not juice. It's the pomegranate sparkler and then the some ginger beer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's see what it's hitting for. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, we have a new nephew.
Must didn't hit.
It was all right. It's not bad. It's all right. Hitting is a bit of a stretch.
A stretch.
But it's
feel it.
doing what it needs to do.
It's not hit. I mean, it's
good.
It's like a refreshing little something to sip on.
Well, we have a new nephew, which is why we weren't here last week. My sister had her baby.
Mm-hmm.
She and her husband, Rob, and his name is Robert. He's a third, and he's so cute and little. So we've been a little bit occupied with that. He was actually born last Monday, and we didn't have a podcast ready, so nothing went up. So here we are this week. Congrats to you guys for the on the baby. And yeah, it was a little bit of a hectic week last week.
Yeah, Erin was gone for like 48 hours. So,
I was at the hospital with her while she was laboring.
well, really, the
and-
last day we would have recorded, you went to the hospital, so
Yeah.
we just didn't record.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that was that.
Yeah. So I was at the hospital for basically Sunday and
Like
Monday.
2.5 days.
Yeah.
A little
Well,
bit of
no.
Tuesday too, right?
I only went for like a tiny second on Tuesday. No, I didn't even go on Tuesday.
Oh, the baby was born on Monday, right?
Yeah, the baby was born on Monday.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So-
Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. So it's been cute seeing him in River. River looks like a giant next to him. But yeah, so that's like a big family update. Otherwise, we've just been kind of moving and grooving a little bit through January. I feel like this month is going by so fast.
No, like it's about to be over. Today is what, the 26th?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
And January is
January
usually
has
so
never-
slow.
It's never
This year
gone
is
by
flying.
this fast ever.
Ever.
I don't know if it's the kid or if it's
I think it's the kid.
or we need to or we feeling the I don't know. It's the kid.
Yeah, it's the kid
It's
for
the
sure.
kid, yeah.
Because I only know we were talking about this last night with another new parent couple of our friends, and they were saying the same thing. But I think that's because we have babies
Yeah.
that is flying by. So, okay, so this or that.
Okay. What you
Would
got?
you rather sit at the bar or sit in the dining area? So, like when you're out to eat, would you rather sit at the bar to eat your meal or sit in the dining area?
I think it depends. I think it depends.
Okay, well, you got to pick one.
I'm going to say dining area.
Okay, and what does it depend on?
Well, most places don't just have like a nice bar. You just want to sit at all the time. I think if it was always equal, then I might pick bar just because it's a little bit more conversation, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Like with like maybe the bartender or whatever. But I'm going to go with the dining room just because like one, I always have to talk to them,
Right.
and two, you're just likely it's more likely to have a better experience. That's River. She's not
River's sitting here watching us record, so if you hear baby coos and coughs and then that's her.
That's her, right? So, yeah,
Okay.
I'll take dining room.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised you said that. I mean, not surprised, but I feel like when you sit at the bar, you get to watch the bartenders
But that's
like,
the
really
thing. That's
vibe
if we're
and do their
going.
thing.
If we're going to a bar though. That's like bars. We're talking about just dining. Like I don't want to sit in the dining part of no bar, because that's just not fun. Yeah, it's kind of cramped.
Okay, so when you go to an actual bar, you rather sit at the bar
I prefer to sit at the bar.
versus like a little cocktail table.
Yeah,
or,
because it's
like-
just be like you got all these people like maybe passing you, like you may be sitting lower.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really like that too much. We can sit up higher, sit at the bar, vibe with the bartender. That's
Okay.
better in that
So if
regard.
it's a drink specific experience, then you're down to sit at the bar. But if food is involved, you likely
I
will
could do the
prefer
dining
to
room.
sit at
Yeah.
a table. Okay,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I would rather sit at a table. Plus, I just like the privacy of sitting at a table more
Yeah.
than like
Everybody not in your
the
conversation.
bar.
Even though Aaron be in people conversations.
Last night we went to a restaurant and we just sat at the bar for a couple of minutes while we were waiting on what we were doing next. And it was a couple who was sitting next to us. And the guy was probably like 65. And the girl was maybe 25. Like, maybe.
I was like, we know what he on.
And he was just like loving it.
Yeah,
Like,
he
he
was
was
all in.
like, you just look so hot. You're just
Yeah,
so
he was talking
beautiful.
spicy.
Like, why would you wear that? Like, you got me. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah.
Like, he was just, and I was just listening up a storm. You know, because if I can hear you, clearly you want me to hear what you got to say. That's how I feel.
My man's had one thing on his mind and one thing only.
Yeah. So, you
And
know.
they had a lot of
to
food,
each
so
their
he was
own.
getting whatever she wanted.
I know.
I don't know what they had before we got there, but he ordered like two or three more drinks just for himself.
Yeah, they was vibing.
Yeah,
for sure.
they was rocking.
Yeah. So, but on the flip side, it was somebody there who just kept staring at us, and we were like, I don't know if they're subscribers or what. So that's like kind of the caveat of being at a bar. It's like
Yeah.
you just don't really know like what.
But then
vibe
we
people are
literally
gonna
can
be
see
on.
her like she
Staring
literally
at us.
staring, and then she would talk to her friend, and then
And
she
then
started
she started
staring.
staring, and we were just like,
Hello?
"What?"
I mean,
is
we didn't say hello, but
happening?
it's like, what are you staring at?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, okay. Well, let us know what you guys prefer: the bar or the dining room area. Okay, so what are we talking about?
We are talking about what has been kind of like requested. Once again, we've talked about it before. We get quite a bit of questions or remarks regarding like working together, who handles the finances, like who does what, or it's kind of like maybe how are you vibing together?
I'm like,
from
get it out, babe.
from a career I was trying to think of how to
How to
phrase
word it,
the
yeah.
How do y'all vibe together from a career, I guess, point of view,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then we've gotten stuff over. It's kind of like that one or two people who are like, we remember that we both we don't even block people, but remember this that one girl who would send so many DMs to both of us, and then one time we were like, all right,
Yeah.
like you might get slapped.
Yeah.
But she you know, I don't really care about all that, but she kind of was like, I don't know. I think I did some. I don't know. I don't know if I bought something and maybe showed it on my story or something like that. And I think she was kind of like, "What did you do? Buy that with your wife's money or something like that?" And we were like,
Like,
oh,
wait a minute.
wait, hold on now, pump your brakes, pimp."
Yeah.
But so that originally brought up the not only the kind of like the cloud of when your wife is this super amazing woman, she has this thriving business, she's a great content creator, she's a influencer, she's all these great
Right.
things, blah blah blah, and it's kind of like there's just this husband is just like, well, what does he do?
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's assumed that if a woman is doing good, then the guy is a bum.
Right.
So the topic, I guess, would be, are guys intimidated by their wives or their woman's success as high earners or whatever the case may be?
Right.
Me personally, no. To get that out the way. In fact, I think it's amazing.
Right.
But what would be what is a question that comes to mind that I guess that you want me to answer regarding that or to break down?
I guess my question is what makes you so, well, I think first of all, it's more of like a gender roles thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's very weird to me that we're in this time where so many women are feminists and so into just being independent and doing everything on their own and, not needing a man and all of these things. And then when that is kind of, well, I've never said I don't need a man, first of all. And it's not that I need a man, it's like I want one. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's nothing wrong with that, with wanting companionship in that way. But I just think it's always this big conflict when there are women who are pro feminism and all of that. And then there is a woman who is exemplifying that and she has a man. And now you feel like, okay, well, the man should still be doing better than her. Like, her
Right.
man should still, even though she's all of these things, like, her man should still, quote unquote, be doing better than her, which is pretty much synonymous with making more than her,
Yeah.
you know?
It's money related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then it's like, or if the guy is making a whole bunch of money and the woman wants to also
She could
be
just be a
career
stay-at-home.
driven,
Or I was
why
gonna
is she not just a stay-at-home wife? Like, why
Yeah.
why do you have to go out and, like, why not just take care of the kids? Why
Yeah.
why are you so ambitious as well? And it's like, you know, you just
Can't
can't
win.
win.
Yeah.
So that's why I just say, just do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, people are still going to push their own thoughts or narratives or whatever they feel is the best thing onto you, or they're simply envious of what it is that you've created. So my biggest thing is like, what what were your expectations as a man coming into our marriage or relationship, for those gender roles? Because most of the time I feel like the man expects to be the breadwinner. The man expects to be the main, financial provider. So was that your expectation coming into our marriage?
I don't think that was my expectation. I think that because it's what we're taught, it's just kind of, it's not like me saying, "Oh, you need to just sit on down, I'll handle everything" type of thing. I don't think I ever had that type of expectation. But I mean, that's what it was. Like, we came into it. At one point, I was the breadwinner. That's just what it was. It was kind of
Right.
like, this is what we about to do. It wasn't kind of like, don't do nothing, because I'm like, nah, you can do something. In fact, like, I was pushing you to
Yeah.
do really what you wanted to do, for whatever that may mean, right? So,
Yeah.
to begin, it started off, I guess, kind of the normal, or whatever you want to call it, where it's traditional. Like, I proposed, I saved the money, I was prepared for the pay for the wedding and all these different things, pay for the house, all these different things, and then that that flipped immediately, like, basically immediately.
Like,
So,
while we were engaged.
like, while we were engaged.
Yeah.
So, what do I say to that, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are some guys who can, I don't know, maybe get in their feelings, or maybe that ruptures their relationship with their woman. For me, I'm like, yes, sir. But I'm saying that because it's just like, you don't know what your opportunity in life and how it's going to come. Like, you can't, sometimes you can't say this is what you expect it to come. Like, we've talked about what we want in the future. We've talked about maybe how we might get there. And the way that we've been getting there, and the way that the journey that we've been going on, is not one that I've ever could imagine, because it was something new, really, when you got to it. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think for me to answer the question, it's all about, are you willing to adjust? I think I'm good at it, adjusting to life, even though, like, I am pretty structured. I wouldn't say I never had a plan. But sometimes, again, it's kind of like if you went to the league, or if I went to the league, you can't really plan for that. You can't plan to get $10 million contract at 19 years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it was no different than my opportunity. And I don't even think I don't want to say my wife was an opportunity, because that's not why I married you.
Right.
But as we got engaged, like, the opportunity that of your ambition and your skill presented itself. So it's kind of like, Well, shoot. I guess why not? Why not push this on? You never know how you're going to get it. You don't know how you're going to get to it. You don't know how it's going to come. If we did, we all would be great. Like we
Right.
all would have what we want, have what we need. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes I guess we get in our own way, and that's something that I would never do. So I feel like me getting your way because of an intimidation factor would be me getting my own way, stopping because then you probably aren't happy. You probably aren't doing what you would need to do anyway around the house per se or for our family because you aren't getting fulfilled from an individual standpoint. So like, why not push that on?
Yeah. What do you think that if we if we were in where we are in life now, that you would have been intimidated?
No,
Why?
for what? Like, I just feel like
I'm just asking as like
No,
a
I know. I'm saying I'm like so. You paint a picture like I see you out and I try to get on and you are responsive to it and you're like yes, and then I find out like oh she's doing pretty well. No, I'm not.
okay.
Because I feel like I didn't walk up to you thinking that. So I walked up to you because you just piqued my interest. I have no idea who you are, what you do, blah blah blah. You just happen to pique my interest.
Yeah.
So I
I
feel like I will leave it at that, and hopefully we can grow on that. Now, could there be other maybe red flags that come up? I don't know. That probably does happen, but
Do
I
you
don't think.
feel like if you met, so let's just say you met a woman,
Mm-hmm.
she's a millionaire, you're making 150, maybe $200,000 a year,
Yeah.
and you end up picking her up for a date. You see she lives in this huge house. She drives a Porsche. She's like, dripped out. She very well put together woman. And a host of other things, not just materialism, but like just very smart, educated, like poised woman.
Conversation is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel the pressure to impress her? So like,
Nah.
do you feel like you gotta step it up? Do you feel like you gotta like take her on more expensive dates, or do you
No.
feel like you have to show up in a way to like keep her intrigued?
No. One, if I just go back to our reality in terms of like knowing stuff, I don't even know what the nice places are. So I mean, like I had a nice car. I guess if we would have said, or if we would have met when we met, but where we are now in terms of our financial status or whatever. I mean, I was doing fine. Like I didn't have I wasn't no millionaire by no means, but like I wasn't struggling either. So
Yeah.
to me, I don't really look at it like, oh shoot, I need to take her to prime and proper every
Right.
weekend. No, that's not happening. I'm not spending. First of all, I'm not spending $500. You got to earn that. Earn that. I don't care who you are.
Right.
That's just how I look at it. So no,
Okay.
if I picked you up, I mean, I might be like, dang, what does this girl do? But it's not gonna switch up how I guess, come at her river sleep.
If
You
you're
just woke
watching
her
on
up.
YouTube, you'll see Rivy is drifting off to sleep. She was not having it in her bouncer watching us. She's like, somebody
Yeah.
come get me.
But yeah, I mean, I think that goes for when we were driving down the street or on a walk or something like that. We're like, dang, I wonder what they do. Like to me, that's no different. It's not me saying like, oh, let me walk up to this door, knock on that, bring these folks out, and be like, hey, put me on. Like I don't look at stuff like that. I don't think there are people I feel like are maybe opportunist. I don't know. I feel like I've
But do
been.
you feel like that's being an opportunist, or
No,
do
I'm
you feel
saying
like
when it's kind of when you start to think that way. Like if I picked you up, I'm no longer interested in dating you. I'm interested in like, shoot, I'm trying to get to whatever bag she got. So
Right.
maybe I might falsely date you with the wrong intention.
Yes.
So no, I would still. My intention is like I met this girl out. I mean, wow, I'm not gonna say this ain't impressive
Right.
because it is, but I'm not. My intention hasn't shifted to like, oh, I need to, make some moves differently to maybe take advantage now of her, or maybe I don't know. It
But
could
I
be a
don't think,
host of many
yeah.
different things that
But
you
I
can
don't
think.
even think I was asking in a sense of like taking advantage. I think it's more of like, what I guess where's the line drawn between like, wow, I'm actually really motivated to like step my game up or like
Yeah.
to maybe not wear sweats or like, she like making me feel like I want to put a little something on or like where I guess where's the line drawn of like being intimidated versus like
I think that depends on
somebody
the.
trying to like I guess show up in a better way,
Yeah, I think that depends on the man though,
Okay.
because I feel like if I'm talking about myself, at the age we are now, if I'm going on a date, I'm I'm just showing up how I would normally show up.
Right.
Like not when we were 17 and 16, I might have sweats on, even though I came with jeans the first date. Jeans in my varsity jacket, so I could show all my accolades.
Oh Lord.
But you gotta impress the parents. Um, nah, I think now just I'm pretty well put together. I think so. Maybe if she came out, I don't think I'm really phased by like if you call it what it is. Like if typically, um, a girl like that may come out and I hope she might be just dripped out with the designer. I've never even cared about that. Like
Right.
I still don't buy it now, like barely. I mean, if it's something I see and I like, it's like anything else. I'll get it. But I'm not. My intention is not to make money to go buy
A whole bunch of designer stuff.
designer. Like I
Right.
just I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I've already proven to myself to this point, like being able to go buy that now and still haven't.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that would make me shift in that way. But I would be inspired to maybe like, oh, but she probably wouldn't know until we got closer. I'm like, maybe I tell her later on, like, think about when we first started dating. Like I pulled up to your crib. I'm like, man, this girl, she doing it. So instead of maybe I think finding a way to present it, I guess, right? Even like since we've been married, I'm like, all right, I need to stop working. So I'm like, I'm constantly presenting like I'm like, I'm gonna bring this to the table so that your stuff can keep going, so that we can keep going up. Because honestly, like my stuff is just honestly in the way. Like I don't think we can keep going further if we have like this little roadblock here.
Yeah.
Like if we're doing it, if we're really tag teaming it 100%, like just think of where we can go. Like look
Right.
at where we are now, and then think about where we could go.
Exactly.
Like it's worth trying that out. You know what I'm saying? So to me it's not about what you may have or what you may do. It's more so about I think being inspired and how you can also increase not only yourself but y'all's situation. So I guess a girl like that, I would probably tell her, like, you didn't inspire me, and like I came up with this now. Because I always
Right.
think about like when I got my big boy job after so long, and I did start making the money. Remember, I'm like, this is not fulfilling. I think 3 months in, I came down in DC. I was like, we got to start something else,
Yeah.
and we did. I was just trying to think. I'm like, this job is like, it's not what I thought. Like you look
Yeah.
at all these 40 to 50-year-old, 60-year-old people that's working at these companies, and like when I was 19 and started, I'm like, oh yeah. But we just thinking about the money from the perspective of a 19-year-old. Like 100,000 sound great when you're 19, but then when you start making the money, you're like, oh, you start looking at those same people that's still there differently because it's like, you ain't really happy. So it's like you see them in the actual light versus the light that you kind of falsely saw them in when you were younger,
Yeah.
type of thing. So that's kind of how I feel like I visualize things or like pay attention to it. It's just like those people, like y'all are not happy. I know at least 5 or 6 of those guys that I once worked with retired and either got sick or passed away. So I'm like, nah, some got to switch up.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like we get into these positions and you can make some money, and it was good money. But I'm like, I don't want to end up like them.
Yeah.
So that was the difference. And I think that why so quick I was like, we got to do something else. Like we got to figure something else out. I don't think this going to cut it.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think that, like, do you feel any, like, I mean, I know you don't, but, like, like, I guess the financial pressure of being a man and having a wife who is, you know, I guess you can. I don't even like to say that I'm the breadwinner because, like, even though I'm the face of what's going on, like, I know it's me, but like, there is just more that goes into it than just me, you know?
Right.
So it's like, there is, when you're a creator and also just like have a business, like, there's more that goes into it than just the brand. Like, there is all the things that go in behind the scenes
Right.
that, you know, you do a lot of that. So, I guess my question is like, at what point did you feel like comfortable with being like, all right, it's just but at what point did you just feel like, oh, okay, this is fine. Like, I'm cool with like being full time working with what we have going on and not
Um,
like the pressure to continue to work and bring in money from somewhere else.
like 3 years ago, I think when we got with Jared and Ashley, like
Mhm.
3 years ago, was that 3 years ago? Maybe before we got with them.
Okay.
But I would say they kind of like stamp. I'm like, yeah, they like we're finding the right
That's our
people.
management, by the
Yeah,
way.
we're finding the right people, the right resources. And not only are they have been management, it's just like the doors that what you do have open, or even just the people that we've met. It it's more to just like what you do. It's more so like the people we've been surrounded by. I'm like, there's no way that we don't continue to do good and great things,
Mhm.
right? And then we talk to them even specifically. Like our conversations are always good. Um, we always like either encourage or teach or learn from one another in terms of like how we can do one, two, and three. So like that's the comfort in it. It's not really about making the actual money. It's about the process in doing what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where I got the comfort at.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty early on for sure. I'm like,
Because I mean, I think it's always like a level of skepticism. Like, is this gonna work? Like,
nah, for
is
sure.
this like, should I quit? Like, what if things fall apart, God forbid, and like now we're all of, we're in deep,
Yeah.
So,
I'm a believer that all things will definitely work out no matter what happens.
mhm,
That's it got to work out, right? You
yeah,
can't give up on your life. So even if it did, like you still can't give up on it. It's just like, all right, just new route, reroute or whatever. But I mean, yeah, naturally I feel like that can be a thought only because that only thing I've been taught my whole life is go to school and get a job, retire and get your pension, which you don't even get a pension now. Like,
yeah,
but growing up at that time before they was taking like the pensions were taken away or whatever, that was the goal.
yeah,
Like it was never pushed to have your own, grow your own, do your thing really. Like maybe like little side stuff maybe, but it was never like this can be your sole, situation.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, I think naturally it's like a little skeptical, right? But I think the skepticism for me would be like I don't understand this as much.
yeah,
Like I'm good. I was good. I was a good engineer. I was great at doing those things. I'm very logical. I'm like in a straight line, straightforward. I can piece things together. Like all these things. Like that's my lane. Like I can
yeah,
do the technical stuff. What you do, to me, I find as a challenge. But the more I've been around it, it's kind of like, oh no, it's kind of taught me that I have a little bit of creativity.
you do,
Because at one point I was like, there's no way I could ever do this. Like I could
yeah,
do all the stuff for you behind the scenes. There is no way. Even right now, like this is a form of creativity, and even me just sitting here talking, you can tell me even just since we've been married that I would sit here and talk to a microphone and to a camera
right,
at no point ever.
mhm,
But when you're around something, you do it kind of rubs off on you.
yeah,
But you see the benefits in it. You start to learn like, oh, I could take this way, or you
mhm,
start more things start to open up to you.
yeah,
So I feel like that's also what brought comfort because I'm like, oh, I'm expanding my what you call it, your wealth energy.
Yeah, your wealth energy.
Yeah, expanding my wealth energy.
Now, what do you feel about the meaning of being a provider? If
Um,
because so
yeah,
many men struggle with their wives being the breadwinner because they have grown up feeling like they're supposed to be the financial provider.
right.
So, what is your definition of that?
Um, it's not. It don't even start at finances. To me, it's first just simply being a great husband. Like what am I good at, or what do I bring to the table just from a husband standpoint that provides for you? And even now being a dad, what does that provide for River? You know what I'm saying? So what do I do in the house? A lot of times we're kind of the expectation is the wife need to cook, clean, and blah blah blah. Realistically, for us is I don't want nobody touching my clothes. I wash the clothes, so I came in doing that. Even though you tried to pump fake for the first month, and we're trying to do everything, because of the expectation though, it's kind of just like I'm supposed to do this. Like I'm supposed
Right,
to be this
exactly.
ultra
All-star
spectacular
wife.
wife
Yeah.
doing cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, mowing the lawn. No, I'm kidding. She didn't mow the lawn, but you know what I mean. So the reality for us is not only do I like washing the clothes, I wash clothes specifically. I fold them specifically. Like I just gotta have stuff a certain way. So I'm like, I'll do that. She doesn't care.
Not
As long
one
as it
bit.
gets done.
Yeah.
Like so like that's just an example of that's a way of providing. It's like
Yeah.
I'm contributing to the household chores, I guess you want to call them.
Just
Or
the
just
household.
yeah,
Yeah.
just you contributing other than the dollar.
Yeah.
So even if some guys even though I be joking in my requirement is she need to cook, but the reality is she did need to cook because I don't cook, so somebody got to cook,
Right.
and sometimes the guy may cook, and that's fine too. Like if the guy cook, hey, great. I
Right.
wish I could,
Exactly.
but I don't even desire to be in the kitchen. That's kind of how I grew up though. It's just like you ain't got to be in here.
Right.
My mama, my grandma, shoot, even my little sister, I always got a meal. So, you know what I mean? Like I didn't. That was not my.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that in my bag. I ain't really trying to. But, those are just like little easy examples of like what people do day to day that men may not even think they can do or
Or
even want to
maybe
do.
not look at it as themselves as providing.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are certain things that I just never worry about. I never think about putting gas in my car. I never think about taking the trash out. I never
Right.
think about, honestly, driving. I never think about, like, there are so many things that
Yeah.
Cameron does that I am so thankful for because I don't even create the mental space to prioritize them.
Right.
And that frees me to be able to actually focus more on what I need to be doing
Yeah.
to build the brand continuously,
Yeah.
So it's like there is always something that is offsetting.
It's a give and take no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like as long as both people have a purpose and feel like rooted and appreciated in their relationship, then what you're actually doing, as long as it's working for you, is all that matters.
Right.
Like if the woman is making all the money and the guy is he's a stay-at-home husband, keeping the house clean, taking care of the kids, doing whatever, going to sport practices and,
Yeah.
whatever, like keeping the house managed. Like that's a huge role just as it is if the woman is doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like women don't want to feel underappreciated when they're stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home wives. And I feel like the same energy can be put both ways. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
care if I'm appreciated or I don't appreciate the way I see it, because guys kind of are wired differently. I just feel
Yeah.
like however y'all getting a chicken in the crib,
Right.
I'm about to do this because
Yeah.
I ain't messing that up.
Right.
It ain't happening.
It's like
know?
why would it even make sense for you to deviate your energy outside of our home
Right.
when you could be putting that into investing into our business or investing into our family,
Yeah.
and we can still be making just as much, if not more money?
No.
You know what I mean?
We do
Exactly.
make, you know what I mean?
So it's like you're putting that energy elsewhere just so you can have the pride of saying that you're the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And honestly, at a certain point, you're not going to go to a job and be making X amount of dollars. Like if your business is growing to 7, 8 figures, the likelihood, if you're not like a C-level executive at a major Fortune
Right.
500 company,
It ain't.
you're not making $10 million of a
You're
salary. You
not.
know what I mean?
I would give
Like
a perfect
there's a
example though.
cap.
Yeah, I would give a perfect example of that. What also was kind of like stamped it was obviously it's been now over a year since I've been out of corporate. But remember, we got a brand deal that was worth my entire salary for
Right.
this. Like that was kind of like, all right,
Yeah.
what other signs do I need? I've been wanting to leave. I honestly hate working here. It's not helping me grow in any way at this point. That was kind of like, that was
Yeah.
like, what more did I need to see?
Yeah.
Like, if we could do this, imagine what else we can do.
Yeah.
Like, my entire salary is insane. Like, that's not little. So I'm like, oh, say less. Like, that's different. Like, I'm like, all right, hey, I ain't got, thank you, God. But it's kind of like, it's just that. It's like sometimes I feel like you can be in your own way of moving forward. You say you want to, but then you ignore what's actually, like you ignore and walk into the door that's open because your wife may be doing super well.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to ask you one more question because I've seen this commented on a lot of these videos when we post
Yeah.
you being like the content creator husband and like setting everything up and doing all these things for me. And I know everyone who's watching this isn't a content creator, so the roles may not be like totally parallel, but I guess so because of that, what are some things that you would say may clue into a woman that her husband is intimidated by her? Like how maybe like what are some of the signs? Because I feel like it's very unlikely for a guy to be like, "Oh, I'm intimidated by you." Like I'm intimidated by your success. But like there are probably things that he's doing that can make her feel like what she's doing is not important or he's not fully supportive of her. Like I don't know. What do you think from him?
I don't know.
Is that a hard question?
That's a hard question. I would say maybe his attitude. Maybe he's not being attentive to you.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not touching you as much as he once did. Like, I don't know. It could be a slew of things. It depends on the guy. But I'm gonna say maybe he's not touching you as much because if a guy stopped touching you, it's either one or two things. It could be that, or he just ain't into you
Right.
no more. Which that would
not
suck.
funny.
It's not funny, but that's the truth. Like I've heard examples of that as to where like we could talk about even like the movie The Intern, right? I don't think he
yeah.
was necessarily intimidated, but he was not understanding of what she was building. So for just you got to look at things sometimes in a moment of time, right?
Yeah.
She was in the midst of this booming situation where her attention and her hands were needed there at the company, and that's not going to be forever, right? Now, he might have been right about you need to hire a CEO, you need to do 1, 2, and 3. She just had to get there. You have to allow sometimes for your spouse to get to a certain space, and you're not going to always be in this perfect scenario every time. Where he broke at was he did step out, he did cheat, right? Because he was needing something on his end.
Yeah.
Now it's not any excuse, but also from her end, she was obviously aware of it, but to me, I feel like that's where accountability comes in. Like she was also very accountable to it.
Yeah.
She understood how it happened, and they worked their way back from that situation.
Exactly.
Now, hopefully that is not the situation but that's a great one, right? Because that's an easy one if the man is the one he's doing everything at home.
Yeah.
He like, I mean, I'm doing everything else. She ain't home no way. Like I might as well go. I get baby girl at school,
daycare,
or whatever she was at. One of these moms.
Who at the park.
I'm about to get little Miss Sandy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever her name was in the movie, but I think that's a great example of one. It's not an expectation of women to just be these powerhouse women. That's not an expectation. It almost can catch any man off guard. I do think it's how a man approaches it and how he accepts it. Once you
Mm-hmm.
accept it, you will start to be able to navigate it. And I feel like that's kind of how I've approached it. It's just like I accepted it from the jump. I'm like, oh, bet, like
Yeah.
say less. But I had to also had to learn how to I still have to navigate it day to day. Like it's not a corporate job, so it's not the same thing every time. You're not a CEO of a corporate job. Like you're the CEO of your own company, so it doesn't look the same. You're not getting 5 million check in a month or whatever CEO is making a month. Like you're not getting $200,000 a month from, I don't know, whomever, the biggest company you can think of. You know what I'm saying? You're not making whatever the GM lady make or whoever this. You know, you're not making $20 million in a year from being the CEO from a
Right.
corporate company. You're right. So I think is from that maybe you'd be able to navigate that or whatever because it's constant.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just like you have to learn how to navigate the ebbs and flows of just owning your own business in general. Like
No,
this, it's kind of how
yeah.
I look at it.
Now, is there anything that do you think the woman could do to make her husband more comfortable, or do you think that that's solely something that the man has to come to terms with?
Uh, well, I I
Like,
do. I think just like the woman would want the man to be attentive, even if it was the normal situation where he's the breadwinner. You still want him to be attentive to you. Like you still want him to notice what you're doing. You still want him to lift you up when the house is clean every day. Dang, babe, man, thank you.
mm-hmm.
Even thank you for making up the bed, something as small as that, or thank you for making sure the kitchen is always clean. It's like it may be something you do every day, but that may be enough for her to be like, he sees me, like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So like, oh, the shower is clean, or the
Yeah.
clothes are always hung up, the clothes are always dry clean, they picked up from the dry clean, and if you're
Right.
home all day, like my suit is done, like that's more of the expectation. The more it was like, I guess normal.
Yeah.
I guess if it's a guy like that, but I think it needs to be reciprocated because nowadays women are killing the game.
Yeah.
So you almost can't expect. You should expect that your woman. You should want her to win. Like however she getting it, shoot, bet. Like the more the merrier. Like that's kind of how I look at it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I just think both sides should always be attentive. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
Shoot, you could be poor or broke, whatever you want to call it. You still need to be attentive to each other.
Yeah.
Like you need to thrive in poorness too, just like you would in riches.
Yeah.
So, is it harder? Yeah, but you still need to understand where you are. No matter if you're high or low, you have to understand that placement so that you can move forward and not be against each other. Because I think a lot of people say, "Well, I don't have no money, so we just always bickering or we at each other because we can't figure it out or this bill can't get paid." Well, shoot, you rich and it's still the same people having these same issues. So it's not the money to me.
Yeah.
It's more so that y'all's relationship and you not having the ability to maneuver and work through things.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I look at it.
I think that's.
That's that.
I think that's just that on that.
That's that on that. Okay, well, this one was, I guess, pretty good. Man, let y'all wives do what they do, man. She may be your NBA star or whatever. Mine for sure is.
But I think I guess for me to add my last sentence is that as the woman who is doing all those things, I don't think that I would be able to be married and our marriage not be solid and our business be thriving. Like I care too much about what we have that if what we have felt off, I wouldn't be able to focus on work. And so
Right.
I feel like just from a spouse's, like, just from, I guess, a marriage perspective, the stronger the marriage is, the more likely
The better everything else is.
everything else is going to just blossom and succeed.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine not having you in my corner, just supporting me, riding, like, whatever, and me still trying to do this,
Yeah.
because for what? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
What
we're a
is- what we
team.
doing it for?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
what are we doing it for?
Yeah.
So I think if anything, if you're a spouse and you know your person has something good going on, like, imagine if you got on board. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying like imagine if you quit your job and y'all aren't in the financial position to even be able to do that. But like, imagine if you just really support them 10 toes down. What would come out of that?
Yeah.
So
you know what they say is what they say.
What they say, babe?
What's the
Oh Lord, he about
phrase?
to jack it up.
I am for sure. Trying to think of it. Now that I'm thinking of it, I can't get it out perfectly, and then I'll say it perfectly after we're done. But basically, like if you pour into your woman, just imagine what she's able to grow from that. Like you water
women
her
are
plant.
multipliers.
Yeah. So, it's really that is so true. I don't really have no way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said, like, even from an obedience standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, like I did feel like me showing obedience, it again, like I said a few weeks ago, it's just like you have a blessing, but you don't get the blessing in full. You have it in full, you just have to keep unlocking parts of that blessing because we have a lifetime to live. And I think the older and the wiser we get, the longer our relationship is, the more I get to just have you and love you and the same and get that back from you. And I get to see more of why I chose you in the first place.
Aww.
So
Thanks,
don't cry.
I'll try.
But I think it's really that. I moreover anything financial to me is really just the blessing part in it. Like I don't think it would have been even if you didn't want to work, I still would have saw it the same way. Yeah. Because you would have put that same energy elsewhere.
Yeah. So. That's true.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you rock with me, then you rock with us. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye. Say bye, Ruby.
Oh, she woke up. She's like, all right, this is over.
Right.
Time to play.
Time to wake up.